Stanford University. Please be seated. Welcome to the 2014 Stanford University Baccalaureate. This ceremony has a long history in American universities. The same word that refers to the college degree also means a religious service for graduating students. Here at Stanford, the Baccalaureate is a multi-faith experience, celebrating the magnificent pluralism that this university has come to embody. Our speaker today and the student who will be sharing a reflection come from different religious traditions, Zen Buddhist and Eastern Orthodox Christian. We began with a Buddhist call to prayer. The invocation is from the Native American tradition, and you also hear readings from Muslim and Jewish sources. Talisman will sing spiritual songs from Africa and the African diaspora, and Taiko's drumming blessing has Japanese roots. The Menlo Brass Quintet's music is from the Western European canon. This should feel like a festival of and for the world. We're honored to have Buddhist priest Zoketsu Norman Fischer here today as our speaker. He was the abbot of the San Francisco Zen Center from 1995 to 2000, and then founded the Everyday Zen Foundation in 2000, which now has chapters in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. He's also stayed in touch with his Jewish heritage and has been a strong proponent of interfaith dialogue. He's a poet and an author, and has a special interest in teaching Buddhist principles to business people and Buddhist compassion in action to lawyers. Our student reflection will be given by Konstantin Buehler of the class of 2014. Konstantin has been the president of the Orthodox Christian Fellowship, one of the 35 Stanford associated religion groups on campus, as well as president of the Stanford Venture Capital Club. His intellectual interests have been eclectic, with a major in management science and engineering, and minors in art history and computer science. In the fall, he will still be here at Stanford, pursuing joint master's degrees in business administration and computer science. During this baccalaureate service, as is noted in your programs, could I please ask all of you to hold any applause until the end, refrain from photography, and be sure that your cell phones are turned off. Congratulations to each of you who will graduate today. Congratulations to your family members and friends. You should also note that there are 2 undergraduates and a graduate student listed in your program notes who won't ever be able to take part in their own commencement. They died before finishing the work for their Stanford degrees. The flowers here on the dais are in their memory. Life is so fragile, is so precious, and in the midst of this celebration today, we do well to honor Samantha, Jimmy, and Joy, and to give thanks for their unique contributions to the world during their much too short but full lives. Please join me now in a moment of silence so that we can reflect on their time with us and on their passing. Amen.
Please join us now in the invocation, a prayer of the Ojibwe Nation. We know that in all creation, only the human family has strayed from the sacred way. We know that we are the ones who are divided.
And we are the ones who must come back together to walk in the sacred way. Sacred One, teach us love, compassion, and honor,
that we may heal the earth and heal each other.
I have learned so much from God that I can no longer call myself a Christian, a Hindu, a Buddhist, a Muslim, a Jew. The truth has shared so much of itself with me that I can no longer call myself a man, a woman, an angel, or even pure soul. Love has befriended Hafiz so completely, it has turned to ash and freed me of every concept and image my mind has ever known.
If you had not stood by us, we who rise to question and struggle, we would have said, if you had not stood by us, when the world's weight fell, we are broken. When the world's flood surged, we are swept down. Souls sunk in a watery cell, breath cut off, the torrents washing out our dispersal, the presumptuous waters rolling down the nothing, the zero that remains. So we speak the unsayable name, blessing you who have held us whole, kept us from all that is trapped partial and torn. Because of you, our soul flutters light, like a bird escaped from a fowler's snare. The snare is snapped, and we fly up. Our help is in you, unnameable name, word of all words inside the ear, you to whom all speech is addressed.
Sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. You used to rock me in the cradle of your arms. You
That was beautiful. Good morning, everybody. I am very honored to be here this morning with all of you. It is literally, standing up here, awesome. Seeing a sea, an actual sea of beautiful waving faces. I have no idea why I'm here, but I feel lucky to have the chance to reflect, to muse, to ponder with you at this important moment in your lives. And a moment is a moment. It's a long time since I have been a university student, and I enjoyed that time in my life immensely. It was full, it was exciting, a time almost completely devoted to study and exploration of life's big questions. Yes, with a little fun thrown in, some pretty powerful friendships, and, let's be honest, a certain amount of misery and angst. Everybody has been telling you that college is a privilege, and it is. But you know that it is not necessarily the easiest time of life. As with all other times, maybe even more so, there are highs and there are lows, but this morning, I guess you're all feeling the high. And it's beautiful. Time passes, though, and you forget. These days, excuse me, once in a while, I go to university campuses, and when I do, I actually feel as if I'm in heaven. And I have the idea that heaven is probably like a university campus. Everyone is young and healthy. Everyone's spending their time in intellectual and social pursuits. In season, there are always flowers here and there. The trees are well trimmed. The lawns are manicured. The buildings are more or less matching and clean and very nice. Heaven probably is like that. A university is by definition a place of promise. And students are by definition promising individuals. maybe you more than most, because Stanford is not just another university. It is a great and a storied university that these days would appear to be at the exact center of the universe. Because of what you have received, not only from Stanford, but from your parents, from your friends, all of whom have given you a lot of love and support, you now have the skills and the connections and the obligation to do great things. And this means not only great things for yourselves, you are expected to do great things for others, for the world, and we all have very high hopes for you. I expect higher hopes than you have for yourselves. So let's be honest. As much as we discuss and provide wise punditry, we older folks don't really know what the world will require in the coming times. And we're a little bit bewildered and unsure, although we will never admit it. Because to grow old is gradually, little by little, to cease to understand the times in which you live. And that's why we really are placing our trust and our hope in you. No pressure, of course, but the future really is yours. And yet, the truth is, it's not going to be so easy to survive your promising life. For one thing, there are a lot of promising people out there, not only here at Stanford, here in California, here in the United States, but everywhere, in Europe, in China, in Latin America, all over Asia, in India, Africa. Some of you probably are those people. Bright, energetic, mobile. And you know this. There's so much competition, so much anxiety about that competition, that it is possible that success will not come easily. It's also possible that success won't come at all, or that it comes, maybe in abundance, but that you don't find it as meaningful as you thought it would be. Or maybe success comes, you do find it satisfying, but only at first, when it's still bright and shiny and exciting, and later that the state and the pace and the social implications of the successful and ambitious life you will have lived will wear you down. And at some point you find yourself tired and a little confused. That is possible. It could be that as time goes on from this day, some of your personal relationships don't work out the way you hope they would. It's possible that as time goes on, your sense of yourself doesn't hold up to scrutiny. It's possible that there will be disappointments, setbacks, some acknowledged and some buried deep within and not acknowledged. In short, it is very possible that from this day forth, there's some pain awaiting you. Bad love affairs, betrayals, losses, disillusionments. Probably you're going to have some seriously shaky moments. Maybe as you move through the decades, it will become increasingly difficult for you to maintain the idealism and the hopefulness that you have right now. It could be that one day, some years from now, you wake up finding yourself wondering, what have I been doing all this time? Who have I become? Anyway, you'll keep busy. You'll have a lot of things to do. And if there are such feelings, you'll try your best not to notice them. If there's any despair, disappointment, discouragement, boredom that you're feeling 2, 5, 10, 15, or 20 years from today, you'll try not to notice. And I bet you'll be able to do that more or less. You'll be able not to notice more or less. Most people don't. But notice the phrase, more or less. So I don't really mean to be, depressing you today. Sorry. It's such a beautiful day. And everybody looks so nice in our outfits. It's awful to say these things. And I do realize that baccalaureate speeches are supposed to be bright, uplifting, and encouraging. The folks at Stanford who were nice enough to invite me to speak today sent me links to previous baccalaureate speeches so I would have an idea of what people usually say. And I looked at a few speeches and they were really good. They were serious about the challenges ahead, but they were pretty much positive. So yes, I understand that I should say something encouraging, and I do intend to do that. But I figured I would be more convincing if I were also pretty realistic. And it is realistic to say that your lives from now on are likely not going to be all that easy. That the skills that you will need to survive may be more than or other than the skills that you've been focusing on so far in your lives. Because the truth is, it takes a great deal of fortitude and strength to sustain a worthwhile, happy human life over time in this actual world that we live in. Okay, here comes the uplifting part. Your life isn't and has never been about you. It isn't and it has never been about what you accomplish, how successful you are or are not, how much money you make, what sort of position you ascend to, or even about your family, your associations, your various communities, or even about how much good you do for others in the world. Your life, like mine, and like everyone else's, has really always been about one thing: love. Who are you, actually? And where did you come from? Why were you born into this life? You didn't ask for it. When this short human journey is over, where do you go next? And why and how does any of this exist? What is the point of it all? Not even your Nobel Prize-winning professors know the answers to these questions. These inevitable and unavoidable human questions. None of us has the answers, none of us. The only thing we know is that we're here for a while before we're gone, and that we're here together. We're here together. Which is why the only thing that completely makes sense, the only thing that is completely real, is love. And this is not a mystery, and this is not news or some great discovery. Everyone actually knows this, even though we forget about it. Whether your destiny is to have a large, loving family or no partner and no family, love is always available to you wherever you look. And when you dedicate yourself to love, when you dedicate yourself to trying your best to be kind and to be of benefit to everyone you meet, not just the people on your side, not just the people you like and approve of, but everyone, every human and non-human being, then you're going to be okay. And your life, whatever it brings, even if it brings a lot of difficulty and tragedy, as so many lives do, as even the lives of privileged and promising people sometimes do, your life will be a beautiful life. I promised this would be uplifting. I hope that you find this uplifting. But there's more. How do you love? What does this mean? How do you make your love real in your life? So it's not just a pretty idea. This is not going to happen by itself. It does take attention. It takes commitment. It takes effort over time. It doesn't come from wishing or believing or assuming. You're going to have to figure out how not to get distracted by your personal problems, by your success or lack of success, by your needs, by your desires, by your suffering, by your various interests, and always keep your eye on the ball of love, even as inevitably you're going to juggle all the rest of it. So you have to commit yourself to love. And you have to have a way. You have to have a path. You have to have a practice for cultivating love and strengthening it throughout your lifetime, no matter what happens. Because love is not just a feeling. It's an overarching attitude and spirit, and it's a daily activity. In my life, I've cultivated love through a path of spiritual practice, a life of meditation and study and reflection. And I think you also are going to need some kind of path of spiritual practice. You also are going to need some kind of religious life if you're going to survive this difficult human journey with your heart intact and your love generous and bright. A spiritual or a religious life doesn't need to look like what we have so far thought of as a spiritual life. The world now is too various and too connected for the old paths to work. Not that the old paths are outmoded. They are as useful today as they ever were, maybe more. Sorry. But now they need to be reformatted, reconfigured for our lives as they are now. And above all, they need to be open and tolerant, transparent and porous rather than opaque, and expansive rather than exclusive. A spiritual life can and should be much more lively and interesting than we have previously imagined. To investigate at the deepest possible level the human heart and the purposes of a human life that is essentially connected at all points to and with others and the planet Earth can be and should be, maybe it has to be, deeply engaging and satisfying. And there are a million ways to approach it. But the main thing is you do need to approach it. You need to commit yourself to it, and you need to have some sense of discipline, something you actually do, some kind of regular practice. The most important characteristic, I would say the defining characteristic of a spiritual practice is that it must be useless. Absolutely useless. In other words, it's an activity that has no practical effect other than to connect you to your heart and to your highest and most mysterious purpose, a purpose that is literally unknown because it references the unanswerable questions I mentioned a moment ago. We do so many things for so many good reasons, don't we? You've been doing lots of good things for lots of good reasons for a long time now, for your physical health, your psychological health, your emotional health, for your family life, for your future success, for your economic life, for your community, for your world. But a spiritual practice is useless. It doesn't address any of those concerns. It's a practice that we do to touch our lives beyond all concerns, to reach beyond our lives to their source. For me, that practice has been for many years simply to sit in silence. That's a good one. I recommend it. But there are many, many other practices. Prayer. You don't have to believe in God, to pray. You could contemplate spiritual texts, art, poetry, sacred music. You could just walk quietly on the earth as a spiritual practice. You could gaze at landscape, or the sea, or the sky. A little tip, if you're ever in trouble, look up at the sky for a few minutes and you'll feel better. Many other such useless practices that you could devise or invent. For instance, you could practice gratitude. The way to do it is when you wake up in the morning, first thing, as soon as you put your feet on the floor from bed, sit on the side of the bed and train yourself to close your eyes, just be quiet for a moment, and say softly to yourself the word grateful, and see what comes into your mind. You could practice that right now, right now. Or you could practice giving, always making the effort to intentionally say a word or offer a smile or material or emotional gifts that confer blessings on another person. Or you could intentionally practice, imagine doing this, kind speech. On all occasions, even difficult ones, committing yourself to speaking as much as you can in kindness and with inclusion of others and their needs, their hopes, their dreams, not just speaking from your own side. Or you could practice beneficial action, committing yourself to intentionally acting with a spirit of benefiting others, no matter what you're doing, of being some use to others. Even stupid ways that seem like they're not useful could be useful to others and beneficial to others if you intend them that way. For instance, I have a practice of benefiting others by always wiping sink counters in public restrooms. This is a great practice. Other people are going to come and use the restroom. You could wipe the counters, thinking of them. Changes your life. You could even wipe your own kitchen counters with that spirit, benefiting the other people who are going to use that counter. If you live alone, you could wipe the counters to benefit yourself and cook a nice meal for yourself and feed it to yourself, because when you prepare something with kind attention, thinking of others, even yourself, it's beautiful, because oneself, truly understood, kindly understood, is actually just like another. Or you could practice identity action, recognizing that when you do anything, whatever it is you're doing, you are not and you cannot do it alone by your own power. You've never done anything alone by your own power, and you can't. Because inevitably, whatever you do involves others, and the whole world involves this earth we live on, its life-giving sunlight and plants and animals, so that every action we ever take involves others and a world of support. And you could commit yourself to noticing that, to noticing it and feeling it whenever you do anything. What about practicing compassion? Compassion, which is going toward, rather than turning away from the suffering of others, and your own suffering too. We all want to avoid pain. So much of what we do in our lives is to avoid pain, make pain disappear, and good if we can do it. But there are times when you can't, when it's impossible to make pain disappear. And so, can you go toward it rather than run away? Can you become softened and brought to wisdom by the unavoidable pain of yourself or others? Anyway, you're getting the idea here. I could go on and on. It would be interesting to go on for another hour listing all kinds of spiritual practices that you could do, because the practices are unlimited and they're imaginative. They require imagination. And especially, they're always full of love. They come from love, they encourage love, and they produce more love. And when you do them over time, little by little, it conditions your heart, and you discover that you are living in a world full of love, and your life, and for your life, and for our lives collectively in the times to come. Of all the things we need, we're going to need much more love. Lots of love. In good times, love is lovely. Nothing is better. And in hard times, love is absolutely necessary. Love turns tragedy into opportunity. It turns something difficult and unwanted into a chance to drive love deeper, to make it wiser, fuller, more glorious, and more resilient. My friend Fenton Johnson, who's sitting somewhere in here, who's a Stanford graduate and a former Stegner fellow, I sent him an email. I said, somehow or other, I got invited to give the address at Stanford. What should I do? What should I say? And he wrote me back a very wise email. He said, in part, if I were giving such an address, I'd talk about the mystery of life, how one can and should lay great plans, but how life has its own ebb and flow. And our first duty is to be present to that ebb and flow, to realize that failure and success are social conceptions that can be useful, but that in their conventional definitions have little to do with what really matters, which is the study and practice of virtue. As Timothy Kelly, who used to be the abbot of Gethsemane Monastery, where Thomas Merton practiced for most of his life, said, how one lives one's life is the only true measure of the validity of one's search. One of my dearest, best friends, who's no longer alive, was Philip Whalen, the beatnik poet and Zen priest. As a poet, as a spiritual practitioner, he had no choice but to do anything other than search. And his genius was that he could express the seriousness of his search while maintaining not only his sense of humor and play, but also a clear and sane knowledge that the whole thing is actually as funny as it is tragic. So I'm going to close with a poem of his that he wrote in the 1960s. This poem is called To Henrik Ibsen. I don't know why it's to Henrik Ibsen, but that's the title of the poem. This world is not the world I want, is heaven. And I see there's more of them. I've seen most of this world is ocean. I know if I had all I wanted from it, there'd still not be enough. Someone would be lonely, hungry, toothache. All this world with a red ribbon on it, not enough. Nor several hells, heavens, planets, universal non-skid perfection systems. Where's my eternity papers? Get me the great Boig on the phone. Connect me with the button molder right away. Pretty wacky guy, that Philip. But that poem says it all. So, please do seriously, when the festivities die down and you have a few days to collect yourself, think about it. Think about it. Not in a grim way, but with a certain amount of joy and a certain amount of lightness. It is amazing to be alive. Amazing. Unlikely. Today, you're closing the door on one life and opening the door to another. Today, you are hurtling out of heaven. Where in the world will you land? And when you get there, what in the world are you going to do? And what is really worthwhile, and what is just a distraction, no matter how much people tell you it's not? This is not a simple thing. You're going to have to figure these things out. Nobody but you can do that. So again, I'm so happy and honored and thrilled to be here with all of you today. And I am saluting you. I'm so happy for all of you. I'm happy for the life you've had so far. I can only imagine how wonderful it must have been to attend all these fantastic classes in such a beautiful place with such nice people. So I'm congratulating you on having done that, and I'm congratulating you and hoping for you in your life ahead, a new life of challenge and difficulty and passion. What an opportunity. So if I had a glass, I would raise it and say cheers. Congratulations. Thank you.
One by one,
Good morning, and congratulations to the Leland Stanford Junior University class of 2014. Never have I seen such a beautiful sight. So many brilliant, kind people in one place. So many people I love. Thank you, class of 2014, for this opportunity. I am honored and humbled. Allow me to begin by offering you a chant. Eonia imnimi vechnaya pamyant. May their memory be eternal. May their memory be eternal. When these words are sung in my church, they bring my grandmother to tears. They make my mother feel pain and my father cringe. These words bring a vein to my uncle's forehead and a frown to my sister's beautiful face. They burn. But as the chant concludes, they soothe and elevate us. These are the words of grief and loss of a loved one in the Eastern Orthodox Christian Church. Take a moment to think of the words of loss in your faith, perhaps the Yizkor or the Salat al-Janazah. But this speech is not about loss. It is about what we will leave behind and what we will choose to bring with us. In my religion, when someone falls asleep into eternity, dies, it is the honor of those still living to carry on his or her memory, to ensure that his or her memory is eternal. Now, this isn't intended to be morbid. Don't worry, the soothing and the elevation is to come. But first, I'll ask you to meditate with me, to pray around 3 memories. Everyone, I ask you to open your hearts now and remember a loved one who is not physically here. If you're blessed enough that all of your loved ones are here, that's fantastic. Simply appreciate those who you are with. Now, bring that person into your heart. Bring him or her with us. Maybe it's a whole group of people, bring them all. Yes, there are only 4,000 seats in the quad, but physical constraints do not apply to heaven or Jannah or Alam Haba. Take a moment and remember these people. Close your eyes and picture them sitting next to you. See that loved one smile. She's so happy. He is so proud. May their memory be eternal. Now, let us remember the namesakes of this university. the Stanfords. After all, we sit in the shadow of Memorial Church. Our university is steeped in memory and love and sobriety of thought. Well, sobriety on most weekdays. Let us remember Leland Jr., cut down before his prime in a way that somehow mysteriously benefits us all. Let's remember Jane, that she dreamed this dream, and that this woman, in an era of men, built the greatest university in the world for the memory of her son, with her husband initially, but largely after his death in 1893. And let us remember Leland Sr., for without his hard work, Jane's dream might not have been fulfilled, and we may have spent the past 4 years freezing in Boston rather than basking in the beauty of the farm. Finally, let us remember our time here. This chapter that's closing all too quickly. Shut your eyes once more. See it all. Our classmates, professors, administrators, staff, our friends. Remember it all. Yes, countless hours in the library. And yes, lots of struggle. But now, let us select what we will bring with us to eternal memory. Let us bring the love and the kindness and the peace that we have experienced on this gloriously paradisiacal campus. Let us leave behind any pain. Let us bring the warmth of our friends' embraces, and of course, of the California sun. Let us hold on to the knowledge that we fought for and the friendships that we built. And of course, look around you. Let us bring the jubilant memories of the loved ones who surround us today in pride and joy and love. May these memories be eternal. Thank you, class of 2014.
Please rise for the benediction. There is a divine dream which the prophets and the rabbis have cherished and which fills our prayers and permeates the acts of true piety.
It is a dream of a world rid of evil by the grace of God, as well as by the efforts of people who are dedicated to the task of establishing the oneness of God in the world.
The Eternal has not created the universe so that we might have opportunities to satisfy greed, envy, and ambition.
We should not spend our lives hunting for trivial satisfactions while God is waiting for our efforts and our devotion.
We have not survived so that we might waste our years in vulgar vanities. God is waiting for us to redeem the world.
For more, please visit us at stanford.edu.